Welcome, Captains, back to the channel. This is your host, USS Endeavor, and today we're taking out the Montecuccoli, the Tier 4 Tech Tree Italian cruiser. So we're going to take a look at the stats and the commander that we're using. Gameplay code is down below. It's a pretty quick video, but if you want to skip to it, the time code is down below. Otherwise, stick around and let's take a look at how she plays. She's got a little bit of an addition to it that you didn't get in the Tier 3, which is a very welcome addition, and stays for the rest of the line. So let's take a look at her. We've decided to keep the exact same build as in the Tier 3 Gasano, with LUIGI SANSONETTI at the helm, with Mimbelli and Ding Ruchang as our inspirations, which help lower the reload as much as we possibly can. We're also increasing our range for our main guns and torpedoes, and we're keeping punch through as opposed to the special perk, with fixated and refill station to round it out with better grouping accuracy and reload. The only mod slot that I would really pick here is the Aiming Systems Mod 1, which again helps tighten that dispersion and helps with your traverse speed with your torpedoes. Onto the, and make sure that whenever you're picking this, to install the SAP shells. It does replace your HE shells, and it does increase your reload time slightly, which is annoying. But do it. Here we have the exhaust smoke generator, which is different from the regular smoke that you're probably used to in the game. This one is a rolling smoke, meaning that as you move, it moves with you. Keeps you concealed as you're moving. So long as you're outside your smoke fire penalty, you can shoot while concealed from smoke. Kind of a get out of jail free card if you think about it. The survivability is 26,500 with a 16% torpedo damage reduction. Still lightly armored. We'll take a look at that here soon, but torpedo damage reduction has gone up slightly, and your hit points has also gone up slightly. The artillery is the same shells as in the Tier 3. You do get a slightly, and I mean slightly, faster reload. 13.4 seconds, I would still consider long. The firing range is not that great at just sub 15 kilometers, even with the range increased on the first perk slot. It's still not that great. The AP shell damage and SAP shell damage, you actually get better SAP shell damage than AP, but you'll see that the AP is still quite effective in this game. Secondaries, 4.2, not really advisable to count on those at all. Your torpedoes are the exact same, except you get a slightly longer range, going from 8.8 up to 11, and the torpedo speed is a little bit faster at 53 knots from 51, although it's still very, very slow. But they do reload very fast, so that's a balancing factor. The AA defense has slightly gone up, but I mean, it's still a joke. Don't count on your AA to save you. Count on your speed and maneuverability, which we will look at right here. Your maximum speed, we haven't spec'd into any of this with the maneuverability or concealment. These are bone stock stats, and they're still really good without having to spec into them. 38 knots max speed, 610 meter turning circle radius is very good, and the 7.6 second rudder shift is average. But it's still good, and you'll see in this video that you can still move around. Your detectability by sea is very good. Not even spec'd into it, 9.2 kilometers for a cruiser. That's fantastic. Your detectability while firing in smoke. Now that you have the crawling smoke, you need to pay attention to this number, 4.2 kilometers. If you are within that in your smoke and you shoot, you'll get lit up and you won't be able to see a thing. So got to be outside that in order to shoot and be safe. Onto the armor, you have the same 13 millimeter bow and stern. However, everything else has pretty much been upgraded. You're still very lightly armored, and don't count on any part of your ship to really bounce anything. You're very susceptible to HE spam. Your torpedo protection is very thickly armored and could bounce AP shells if shells hit at the waterline and you are properly angled. Otherwise, it just gives more of a threshold for the AP to arm. Looking at the deck, it could technically bounce 203 millimeter AP shells, but plunging fire is still going to not be good, especially from range. And speaking of your citadel, which extends for most of your ship, that yellow section is going to give larger AP caliber shells the opportunity to arm. So here we are, Captains. We are on the map Land of Fire, and it is the condensed version of Land of Fire. So it's a smaller map size, but there's still 3 cap circles. We spawn at Alpha, and as you can see, there's a big fat island smack dab in the middle of the cap, which helps, but it also works to their benefit too. We have no destroyers in this match, which is kind of unfortunate because the SAP shells do devastating amounts of damage to those lighter destroyers, and they can almost one-shot. If you get all your shells on target, you can almost one-shot a destroyer and completely dev strike them and take them off the board, if not severely cripple them with these shells. However, the AP also works just as well, as we're going to show in this game mode. Some of the armor here for your opponents is a little thicker, so it's not as trolly as on the tier 3 as you saw, where a lot of our shells would either bounce or fully overpin some of these targets. These are going to have a little bit of a better chance to arm, and you'll see that here. So we're going to quickly get into A. Our speed allows us to get in here. We're the first one in the cap. Haven't been able to spot anything yet, so we're going to pop our plane, get it up there, see if we can see anything. And right there, we spot the Königsberg that is way out there on the flank over at, well, mid at Bravo. So we're going to take a quick shot. He's slowing down. And here we notice that there is a cruiser that is pushing around the far right side of Alpha Cap. I can't remember exactly what it is. I believe it's a Yahagi, which is the Japanese premium tier 4, which is a really good ship. For this tier. I like that boat a lot. Yep, there he is. He's pushing around, and I don't believe he has any intention of slowing down, which is probably not the most advisable play, considering there is a Julio Cesare that is backing me up. We are hydroed right here, which is one downside to this line. We don't have the utility to spot torpedoes or anything with hydro. And there we get 3 citadels with our armor-piercing rounds. So just to reiterate, the armor-piercing works well. Whenever you get those broadside targets, use AP. If they're slightly angled or they're very lightly armored like a destroyer, use SAP. Otherwise, AP is your friend as well. Don't quite get as good of a shot right there. Again, our reload is painfully slow. And here we were about to shoot, but the Julio finishes him off. Now, the Yahagi does have torpedoes, although its firing range or the ability to fire off your torpedoes is very specific, and it's a really tight window. So I wasn't sure if he had gotten it off, and so I got to keep that in mind. I don't have hydro to spot them, so I got to rely on my maneuverability. Here we're pushing out. We immediately get spotted by the New York, which is less than 9 clicks away, which is not ideal. And then another cruiser pops up, the Furitaka. So here we get to showcase using the crawling smoke. Our get out of jail free card. Now we go unspotted because I can't take on both those ships like that. So, but I did get the information that I needed. Here we're just going to throw our torps out there because why not? We have them. They are fast reloading. I think they reload in under a minute, and you can fire off 2 on either side. They are slow, but most people will forget about these if you just shoot them out there. In the general direction, you never know what they're going to do. Here, the Furitaka is shooting at something. I can only assume he was trying to shoot at me, but we are, not on that path, so those shots whiff. The Königsberg takes a shot at us, and well, his shells fall short, painfully short. I don't know if he had me locked on or I don't know what that was, but he just ended up not getting a good shot, which I'm thankful. Those shells hurt, especially from the Königsberg, and against a target like me, not ideal. So I noticed that our Julio is pushing around this corner to try and take on the Furitaka and the battleship that's over here, the New York. So we're gonna help him out. And here we look at the map to see if those torpedoes are going to hit. And yes, they in fact do. So that torpedo, the second set that we threw out there, they were like, a Hail Mary throw actually ends up connecting. It's amazing at how often these torpedoes hit if you just throw them in the general direction. People forget about them. They just don't realize that they're there, and there we get a lucky one. He puts it out, the damage con, so he's no longer flooding. Here we get a shot of the Furitaka and get 2 Citadels. The torpedoes are coming in, which we're thankful that the Julio spotted them for us, so we're going to slow down, turn out a little bit. The Furitaka is not focusing us at all. Here, I think we aimed just a little too high. We do get 1 Citadel, but I think we could have gotten more. We did get 4 other penetrations and 3 overpens, so a lot of hits. The accuracy on these are really, really good. Here, we're going to aim a little bit lower. The Furitaka finally starts shooting at us, but it's far too late. We get 3 more Citadels and the kill. So 9 Citadel hits overall. So the AP shells, they work. They confirmed they work. We got the right targets to shoot at. Now that we're far enough away, the New York AP is not really going to work against him very well, especially at this range. So we're switching to the SAP because it's about the biggest amount of damage that we can get for these shells. And you want to aim for the superstructure, because if they hit the belt armor or any other part of the New York, it's a little too heavily armored, and these shells are not going to penetrate and do any damage. So aim for the superstructure on battleships, just like you kind of would with HE. They won't start fires, but they'll get good raw damage. As you can see there, we're getting a penetration here, penetration there, and we get a shadow there, or a bounce. So, but always take those shots. So Alpha Cap is ours. Our team on the far Charlie side, on their flank, they have taken the Cap over there and have eliminated enough of the Reds to pretty much make this virtually a guaranteed victory. We are very well ahead on points. Bravo Cap never got touched, but at this point, there are no destroyers that really can cap Bravo, which is why it was so important for us at the very beginning of the match, using our speed and the island that we had to get in there and cap Alpha as quickly as we did. Did get contested by that cruiser, but we were able to take him out with the help of the Julio. So good teammates on our team today. It's always nice when you get that. It doesn't always happen, but and this happened to be the first game that I played in the Montecuccoli after the Gisano, so ended up being a decent game and kind of a typical match whenever you get the right teammates. So that's a look at the Montecuccoli. It does get the crawling smoke, which is a very, very welcome addition, and we stick with it for the rest of the line. Top of the leaderboard, just shy of 2K base XP, but top of the leaderboard nonetheless, and a win. So that's going to do it for me today, ladies and gentlemen. We're just getting started, I feel like. We got a long way to go, so stick around. It's going to get better as we get up the line. It does get a little bit spicy. That Italian spicy is going to come out. So thank you very much. Like, share, subscribe, comment below, and I will see you guys in the next video. This is the USS Endeavor signing off.